Hi everybody and welcome to this Friday's tutorial. And I want to talk to you about values, the gray values. And we're going to draw a box or a cube if you want. And there's something very important, and that is this test run that you want to draw for yourself. I've picked 6 values, and for instance 10 being the lightest one, and it's inside the light bulb here of the little lamp that is on the table, and that is casting a light source on our cube. Now you can also of course decide that you want to point out 1 for the lightest and then 6 for the darkest, for the most charcoal, and 1 for no charcoal at all. So that's just a choice that you can make. I like to think of it as in a range from 10 to 0, 10 being the lightest one, and then 0 being the darkest one. And what I'm using is a charcoal pencil Conte à Paris by Pierre Noir, number B. It's also numbered 1710. A very nice charcoal pencil indeed. And with this charcoal pencil you can really go into almost black. When you compare that with graphite, for instance, you can never get that black as you can with the charcoal pencils. So let's give this a test run. Now what I want you to do is to draw in 6 little cubes in which you can put your values in. So I've pointed out 10, 8, 6, 4, 2 and 0. 0 being the darkest value and 10 being the lightest value, which is actually just the color of my paper. Now what I want to do first is draw in the line that is nearest to us. The box will be in an angle, of course, and those 3 lines, the first 3 lines that I draw in, are about the same size, so not much of perspective whatsoever. And on my Patreon page, of course, you can watch me draw in real time. I draw and talk at the same time. Now I'm going to connect those 3 lines with each other, and now you can see the angle in which our box is placed. So I measured them out a little bit, that they are about equal. And then the first line appears, and this one goes parallel to the line that is below. Same for the second line there. And then you want to draw through and through. So these are parallel again. And then you get the point where they cross each other. And then you go straight up with a same plumb line again. And then I can actually draw in the last lines which are parallel to each other again. And then very easily a box is created. Now here's my light source. And what that light source do is it gives a casted shadow upon the surface that the box is on. So because I draw through and through, I can just see where the shadow is going to be casted and how those lines are going. And again, they will go parallel with each other again. Now I can actually bring in the value for the casted shadow, and that would be in a range from 4 to 0. 4 on the far right side, and then as the shadow goes towards and near the box that we are drawing, the value goes all the way down to the value 0, because the shadow nearest to the box will be the darkest. So I simply try to make that shadow as even as possible, and then I can start shadowing in this side of the box, which is completely in the shadow, of course, because the lamp is on the left side, a little bit from behind. And I want to put in the value number 2 for this whole area. And what I also do is I keep my pencil as flat as possible, and in that way I can very quickly bring in the value for that whole area of it's about the value 2 that I want to put in. And also again, I want to make this value as even and equal as possible. And when you go outside the lines a little bit, you can simply erase that out with your eraser, of course, the kneaded eraser or a pencil eraser, whatever you have. So keep it nice and clean. And then I want to put in the value here. Now this side of the box will have a little bit of a tone of its own, of course, and it's in the light area. And I simply start to put in a little bit of value number 8. So there's a little bit of side light, if you want. Not sure how to call it, but I would say about 8. Now the light area ranges from 10, 8 to 6, and everything that is in the shadow ranges between that 4, 2 and 0 value. So that is something that you really have to keep in mind. But here we have the value 8 for that side of the box. A little bit between 8 and 6 if you want. And then we have the side of the box here, which is in the inside. And that one is also about in the range of 6, but also a little bit in the range of 4 as we go deeper inside the box. And this far end of the box here is completely in the shadow. So this will be in that range of value number 2. So actually about the same value as this front plane. So as long as you keep it in that shadowy part, so in that 4 to 0 value. Clean it up a little bit, and then we can, the box is there, it's quite convincing, it's 3D, but I want to make it a little bit more playful. So what I wanted to draw in is, as the box is open, you have those flaps that appear when you open a box. And this is the first flap, and there will be more light on that first flap of the box, I will call it. This is my pencil eraser, by the way. It's very nice. So let's draw that in. Now underneath that flap there will be a casted shadow again, and I will keep that in the range of value number 4. So I'll tone this up a little bit to the value 2, and then I can draw in that second flap, I will call it. So I'll draw that, keep that parallel on the top line, of course, again. And this is all in the shadow. And also those flaps have a little bit of thickness to them, so I draw that in too, to make it a little bit more convincing, if you want. Now I want to bring back that tone to a value number 4, because the flap is in the shadow, but there is a little bit of light, a little bit more light than on the plain side of the box. So I draw out that side of the flap a little bit, and then underneath the flap I can bring down the value again to the number 2. In between 2 and 0 actually. Then here is another flap, number 3. Flap number 3, so you would just see a little tip of that, bring that back to value number 0. And here would be the 4th flap. So I draw that in with the value 0 and the thickness of the flap, of course. So now we have a quite convincing cardboard box. And once you have that, you can render it in a little bit extra, so it looks even more convincing. And well, this is just an excellent study to do and to train your hand, or maybe you're warming up before you start to actually make a somewhat bigger drawing or more complex drawing. So this is a very nice warm-up too for you to do. Or just, get it back to your attention again. Make a convincing cardboard box. It's an excellent exercise too if you're a beginner artist. Very nice to do. And I still do them. It's just great. And I'm putting in extra little detail. And well, this is a little bit of, a joke for me, but let's draw in a tiny kitten. And the tiny kitten is sitting behind the box. And he's playing around, and he just jumped out of the box like Schrodinger's cat. And of course then the cat would be completely covered in shadow. So I will put in a tone number 4 and number 2 and number 0. So the little kitten is just peeping from behind our box. So, well, that is it. I hope you will give this a try. You really should do this. It's an excellent exercise, and next week we will take a look at the cylinder, and we will see what we can draw out of that cylinder and how it is built up. So, thank you for watching. Maybe I will see you on my Patreon page, of course. You can watch me there in real time. And of course, I want to see you again in next Friday's tutorial.